Alright, so I suppose this is part 4 of my video. Today I'm going to change front brakes. Oh yes, I have gloves on today. Main boxing biker, holla at me. But yeah, I'm going to change the brakes on the front. I'm going to show you how easy that is. I'm also going to change the brakes on the rear along with the rotors. These is just rusty because they haven't been driven, but that comes right off. So the front rotors are still good, but the back is bad. So also gonna change these for the all-wheel drive. This is what the lower control arm look like. These is the end links. It's a two-piece. I already removed it out of there so you can't see it, but I do have it. I just don't feel like getting up. But this pretty much goes right here, locks in place like that. The other piece that's L-shaped locks in there and ties into the sway bar. So yeah, have to do that on both sides. But let's get to what we came to do. Oh yeah, one more thing. But these calipers, they was a nice royal blue, AutoZone caliper paint. But yeah, that's what happened. So I'm gonna paint them over black. I might not end up keeping this car after all, but that's a different subject. But either way, so I'm not really worried about this. When I'm finished changing the pads, I'm going to paint it black. But this is how easy to do this. All you need to change front brakes: 14mm wrench, a C-clamp. If you don't know what that is, AutoZone, $5. You could get one of these. Got some brakes and Stop Tech. I'm a fan of their pads, so you need the pads. And they also came with shims. I don't know, I might, depending on how this one look, I might keep it, but you know, that's all you need. So this is how easy this is. So pretty much you just need two pieces of tools, this one and that. So right here, let me point it out. Right here is a 14mm nut. There's one more right here. Now there's a few ways to do this. You could, like some people do, you can remove the whole caliper, which makes no sense to me. Just more work. This is the brake line, right? So an easy way to do this without having to hang your caliper by a wire or something is loosen up this one, and flip the caliper up. And you don't have to bleed, you know, the caliper or anything like that. There's no air in the system, despite what some people may think. But then again, that's for new guys. So here we go. So you just throw this on here. This is a ratchet and wrench, so it makes it a lot easier. And remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. This pretty difficult, not difficult, but I'm doing this holding the phone. I cannot find my mount for some reason. So again, I'm a righty, not a lefty. So I'm weak on my left hand. So this is what we're gonna do, like that, all right? And I guess I'll hold my phone with my right hand. But to save me some struggles, just use one of these. Now you never want to hammer on these bolts, because if it do break, yeah, you're in a lot of problems. But I'm going to do it because again, I know what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna pause right here, and I'll pick it back up in 10 seconds. Okay, that was actually about 6 seconds, but either way, so this is all we're gonna do as I was showing you before. So the nut that's closer to the brake line, right? You just loosen it up, which is right there. You just loosen it up, okay? The one that's farther from the brake line, which is this one right here, you take that one out. Okay. Now you just flip the caliper up. That way, less strain on the brake line. So, and this is pretty much on there. And again, I am doing this with one hand, so let me just pause again. Okay, so all I did was just apply some pressure. Had to put the phone down. You just flip it up just like this, like that. See that? And even though the line is kind of in a curve position, it's nothing serious where it's already like pinching like that. It is still able to flow. That's one way you could do it. Or like some people do, just remove this and hang the caliper, but no need. So these are your pads, just take them off. The one at the back, take it off. And new pads. This right here, as I told you, this is the shims. These still look good, so I'm not going to change them. But in case I ever have to, maybe on my next change, I'll change them. But as of right now, I'm not going to use these shims. So these are the pads. Let's open them up. Okay, yeah. So got the brakes out. Well, the new ones. Big difference. See them once, see them all. Now, before we pretty much do anything, forgot to show you this part. It's right here on my car. What you want to do, because we're going to have to compress the piston in the caliper, take off the brake fluid cap, or brake fluid reservoir cap. Take that off, because once you start compressing, the fluid is going to come up. Okay, it make most sense if you don't know what I'm talking about in a little while. Something that's good to have, I just had it. Where is it? Just had it. Oh, there it is. Right here. There you go. Brake lubricant AutoZone. So pretty much you're just going to lubricate the back of the pads, never here on the pads. That's what's rubbing against your rotors. Genius. But yeah, so we're just going to lubricate back here, and that's that. So that no need to show that, so I'm just going to do it. Okay, so I have my pads all greased up like that. And now you pretty much just sit it in the groove. And remember, you see the way it's shaped like something like not really a horseshoe, but the way it's curved like this, pretty much it fits the same direction. So just catch the bottom. And the top. I'm doing this in one hand, so if it's hard to see, sorry. And you just squeeze it until it fits in the groove properly. And that looks pretty flush to me. As far as the next side, same thing. Just face it this way, get it in the groove like that. I'm just going to sit it on there real quick and then put it in place. Get it in the groove where it sits flush with the rotor, and that's that for that part. Now let's pause so I can actually fit it. Okay, so I do have the pads in. Like I said, you just fit it in the groove. And same thing for the back. Now, if you don't know, this is called a piston. When you step in the brakes, this thing shoots out. Not shoots out, but it comes out. And it pushes against these pads right here. The pad ground against the rotor, and that's what stops you. Right, so an easy way to compress this piston, or at least what I do, you take an old brake pad, you sit it against it like that. Now this is where this C-clamp comes in handy. Let me try that. So I got it all. So this is what you do now. You pretty much put this part on the pad, this part at the back of the caliper, and then you turn it in the clockwise motion, and then it's going to push that piston. Again, can't do this with one hand, but once I compress it all the way back, before I take it off, I'll show you. So I'm going to pause right here. Alright, so that's fully compressed all the way back, the piston. See the difference? So now we just, again, okay, take that off. Take that off. See, it went back inside of the caliper. The reason for that is the new, when you take the old brake pads out, this piston is out about this much because it adjusted to the size of those old brake pads. So now that you put in new brake pads, it's too thick and the piston would not clear. So once you compress it, you should be able to just drop it on down. Drop it on down like that. And if it's not going, See, I'm having a little bit of a hard time. You pretty much just make sure you push the brake pads all the way in on both sides, because the piston can't go back anymore. So just make sure the pads is pushed in on both sides all the way, and then it should be able to just drop right down. But enough of dirty in my phone. I'll just put it back on and show you what that looked like. So, I just adjusted them a little bit, make sure they was all the way in. Roll that back down. That's locked up. Put this one that you took back out down here. Make sure it catches properly. Okay. Throw our 14 back on it. Ratchet and wrench for the win. A little bit more. Okay, now I'm gonna tighten it a little bit more, obviously, when the video is over, but use your own disclaimer on that one. Don't want no one say, hey, I followed Tweaking VQ video how to change brakes and how to tighten up the bolts that hold the caliper together, or the caliper bracket together, whichever one you desire, and it fell off while I was driving. Yeah, but either way, so yep, check, and that is it. You just changed some brakes. You're officially a YouTube mechanic. How does it feel? And when you finish that, you do the exact same thing on the passenger side. It looks the exact same way. When you're done, you lock that back up, and that's all there is to change brakes. So what did I use? One 14mm wrench, one C-clamp, that's what it's called, at least that I know it's called, and some brake pads, and that's pretty much all you need. So I'm not going to record the passenger side. The video's already long enough with one hand. If it was two hands, I would have did this in less than 4 minutes, because I'm that nice. But either way, I might go do the rear brakes and rotors, but probably not. Still have a lot to do. Until next video, remember, real car guys do their own work. Peace.